So I'm going to introduce Eric Ortiz. Eric Ortiz is the Director of Marketing Director of Media at Granite Media, and he's put together a panel here, Be the Change, Youth Workforce Development Through Social Entrepreneurship. So Eric, if you could introduce your panel and take it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Pleasure to be here, and looking forward to having a great panel. We have here Marsha, Magdalene, and her son, Aniki Allen.
So this turns
And
automatically.
this panel, we're going to talk about, explore the idea, how we can use entrepreneurship to create a better, more equitable Twin Cities. These two entrepreneurs are doing that. And it is at a time right now in Minnesota when we have one of the widest opportunity gaps when it comes to youth of color in this country. Our panelists this morning are entrepreneurs who are working to use their startups to create opportunities to help bridge that divide. Through workforce development, real-world business skills, and entrepreneurship training, these founders are building scalable businesses and stronger communities. I'm going to introduce Marsha first. She just opened a new startup called Bread, a unique pop-up market, and it was created for space. She created spaces for local businesses, small businesses, that provide them much-needed space and support. They just expanded to 2 Minnesota locations since launching in November 2020. Magdalene has worked with over 100 local small businesses. Marsha was inspired by her childhood experiences and her personal entrepreneurship journey with her son to create a platform for emerging entrepreneurs. Aniki is 14 years old, and he just he started his entrepreneurship journey when he was 9, creating a bow tie out of Legos. That creation paved the way to launch ice cream bow ties, and more recently, his Aniki Allen clothing brand. He launched young entrepreneur workshops with his mother, Marsha, to teach kids how their creativity could lead to the start of their own business and prepare for them for future professional success. So these are 2 great entrepreneurs here today, and we're going to start. I'd like to start, just ask Marsha, how did you can talk a little bit about your journey to entrepreneurship and how you created Bread?
Thank you for having me. I grew up into entrepreneurship as a very young girl. My parents had multiple businesses, and growing up, I wanted my son to just really empower himself, being a young, multiracial, young black man and Hmong man. My journey started with Bread, just kind of through our journey with Aniki. He was really just the only child entrepreneur everywhere we went. And I wanted to create a space where small businesses that didn't have the resources or didn't have the funding to get a really high accelerated experience. And so I created Bread in November of 2020. We are turning 1 year old in a few months, and it's just been very successful. It's been a long journey, but it's been very successful, and so definitely still growing.
That's great, and congratulations on that milestone.
Thank you.
Aniki, want to ask you the same question. You started youngpreneurs to help educate other kids around entrepreneurship. What was it that you were seeing or encountering that inspired you to do that?
What inspired me was, well, everywhere I went, I was the only young person there, and I was like, one day I was at a Popup somewhere. I was like, instead of adults, why don't they just be kids there? And then my mom, I have a good support system. That's how I'm doing all this. My mom said, all right, let's do this, and we got a bunch of kids all around. They came here from all different states, cities, and places, and so the products, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
To be so young and to be starting a business is very impressive. What are some of the challenge, Marsha, that you've faced and overcome. This morning we had to overcome some challenges. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of challenges you face. What are some that you and the solutions that you've come up with?
For me, definitely scheduling. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially minority entrepreneurs, we don't have access to resources, funding, something as simple as how to register a business. So a lot of that is a barrier. So those are just challenges itself. But as an entrepreneur, there are always challenges. You just never know what may come up, and you just have to be super creative. There is really no blueprint to how to solve a problem. You never know what's going to arise. And I think just being open-minded, being mindful, and just being creative really kind of helps you navigate through a lot of these things. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs out here can really just understand that and share that with, we share that as well.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the businesses who are in your marketplace?
For sure. Charles Caine, who is supposed to be on a panelist, he's also, he has some of his products at our Northtown location. Bread has 2 locations. We are at Maplewood Mall in Maplewood, and then also at Northtown Mall in Blaine. And Charles Caine has an amazing nonprofit organization called
Brothers Empowered.
Brothers Empowered. And they have a youth program which they sell athletic wear.
Clothing, yeah.
Yep.
Clothing,
athletic
wear.
And they are actually one of the vendors at our Northtown location. And what they do definitely is they have youth to come and work there, and also really just experience, how to present yourself, the customer service, what to say, what not to say. He's actually a really big, really popular at our location. And then we also have Renaissance Man, which is owned by Marquise Armstrong. If you guys are not familiar, his wife is Nakima Levy Strong, and his brand is called Renaissance Man. Sorry, I'm just kind of like having a moment here, but we have many great brands. A lot of these entrepreneurs have no experience whatsoever, and putting them in a space where it's retail, where we get a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people do then learn, what to do. So there are many great brands that come and really go. There are many brands that have moved on to getting their own brick and mortar, getting into their own retail, also starting up pop-up shops everywhere. So it's been an amazing journey so far.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. Was there a few months ago and saw it and worked with Charles too. I'm also president of our neighborhood association in Minneapolis, and Charles's organization does a lot of mentorship with youth and teaching youth how to, giving them positive skills and positive workforce development, trying to give them opportunities to learn business. Nikkei, some of them are as young as you, but what are some, how did you, how can people get your clothing and merchandise right now?
Well, I'm actually in 2 stores right now, so one in Maplewood Mall, and the other one, what's it called? Northtown. I'm just forgetting. I got a lot on my mind. But my website I'll go on is on Safari or Google. It's called www.icecreambowties. And on there, I have all my brand and some wooden bow ties, which is actually amazing that I'm creating something new. Something good, something great.
What are some of the misconceptions, the biggest misconceptions you feel that exist for youth that discourage them from pursuing entrepreneurship?
Being too young, or what's it called? Yeah, being too young. A lot of times people are too scared to go up, and really they have the idea, but they don't know how to do it because nobody ever told them. So they wait, and they feel like I should have done that, But if they do it right away, like if they really young and they got to support or somebody motivate them, then they can go on. And that's the great thing.
What advice would you give to people who have an idea and maybe they don't know how to execute it? How would you tell them they could get started? Young people.
Well, I'll say write it down. Write down your idea. If you have, the idea is set, after you wrote it down, go look at some things, There's all type of things you can do. Let's just say microphones, selling cakes, all that things that you wrote down, and after you pick it, go to a Popup or go to a place where you can sell on your phone, Safari or Media, all those places you can get it out.
Same question for you, Marsha. What do you think that are some of the misconceptions people have about young entrepreneurs and, that exist to discourage them?
Exactly what Aniki said, that they feel that they're too young. That we're told as kids, stay in your position. That's an adult world. Don't say this, don't do that. And I think we very limit our children when we do that. And I still do that sometimes, but just telling our children that they're too young to do anything. And I think that's the huge thing that we as adults and as parents and supporters need to do, is just really encourage them that they can do anything that they want to do. And there are so many young people, not just in the Twin Cities, but all over the world, that are actually changing the world, that are moving mountains, as we can say it. And so really just that is, I believe, the number one misconception.
And how important is community support to entrepreneurial success? Start with Marsha.
Community support makes it go round. Bread, specifically for us, we are not success without the support of our community. And the uniqueness about Bread is that we leverage off each other. We are not going to work without each other. And so it is very important that it is very important that community do support us, and that we do also support the community, because we are the community. And Andy can kind of share a little bit about, what he's actually doing in October as well.
October 28th, 23rd. We are doing another annual pop-up. And the pop-up is, you might say what it is, we're having kids from all over here, and it's a free event. You can come in and buy from the products from the kids. And it's supporting the youth. While we're on the topic, supporting, the community, supporting the youth, and you're supporting all the people in there. And that might go on, you never know. You might see them on TV, in a store. It just go a long way.
So can I just touch on that really quick? So October 23rd at the Maplewood Mall from 1 to 5, we are hosting our third annual Youngpreneur Pop-Up Fair. And it's a pop-up of just nothing but youth entrepreneurs. Majority of them do actually come from our Youngpreneur workshop that they do attend, but many of them are just entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs that have parents or that are just excited. And it's going to be a great event. We would love for everyone to really come and support, because it's exciting to see young people sell out. It's exciting for them to earn money. Just a really experience, and a stranger really supporting them is amazing as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. If anyone can make it, that would be awesome. But it's also teaching them important, life skills and business skills, and helping grow the workforce. What are some of the skills that you've seen youth develop in your entrepreneurship journey and the work that the youth that you work with and your son? Yeah,
so Deed reported this in 2016 youth the age of 16 to 19 during that time makes up 10.1% of the entire state of unemployment. And that's in 2016. You know, we're in 2021. Those numbers are just probably higher. And the number one thing I believe that they learn is their reputation. You know, that if I have a business behind me, or if I have a business, I've established a business, now I have to move and I have to change differently. That's so important as people. And then they grow to become really a better person. A lot of times we hear about a lot of violence, a lot of, impoverished activities that go on, and we hear it on the news, but it's like we don't have any resources for a lot of our kids. We don't have a lot of resources for a lot of these youth. One of the number one thing is employment and job. But if we can really teach our young people that, hey, you have the power to start your own business, you have the power to really drive, and create all these great circles, then we eliminate a lot of those crimes. We eliminate a lot of those nuisance that we're trying to deal with right now.
Absolutely. What are some of the skills you've learned, Aniki?
Some of the skills was, I learned a lot of skills, but some probably speaking to people, individually speaking, probably marketing, a lot of marketing, and just getting to know people. That was very hard for me being a young entrepreneur, and it was hard just to really speak up one-on-one because it was like, it's my first time and I don't know. A lot of nerves was going on at the time, like, what if they don't like my stuff, or, what if I don't like my stuff at this situation? It was just a bunch of things at the time. But now that I'm getting a little older, and, I've been enjoying what I'm doing, it's fun. It's really fun.
That's awesome. What do your friends think about what you're doing?
My friends, they like it. Some of my friends, some of them like, all right, bro, I see what you're doing. But if they support me, like, man, at the end of the day, we go play basketball or, football or something, and then they wear it or they say, hey, bro, let me get one of those. I'm trying to give it to them or show where my website is. If they just cool with me, we all able to do this. It's nice. It's really nice.
Do you feel like you're inspiring other your peers, showing them that, if they have an idea, they could start a business too?
Yeah, I'll be trying to tell people, like, hey, if they have an idea, they come to me, I'm like, man, if you have this idea, you should go for it, It's never too late. It don't matter how old you is, young, new, old, it don't matter generation. If you have an idea, go for it. So anybody, my friends, family members, peers, tell them.
That's awesome. What can people here do to support youth entrepreneurship? Marsha.
What can people here do to support youth entrepreneurship?
And the community in general.
The community. Just show up, encourage. Don't limit our children. I think we're just, us older people, we're just really taught to just, again, having children that they're just not ready for the real world. But I'm super excited that Aniki and I are on this journey. And I use him a lot as an example because through the support of the community and family and friends, we've now developed and have an annual Youngpreneur. Now we have workshops. And so just support, show up, support, pretty much support.
And what about you? How do you think the community can support young entrepreneurs?
Show up, like my mom said, show up. If you see a kid on the corner selling lemonade, for example, go over there and just go buy a couple. You never know what they're going to do with that. Might start up some more lemonade. It just go a long way. That's the cool part about it. Support.
And what do you hope, where do you want to take your company?
I want to take it like as far as I can go. One day I just want to retire it. But right now, since I'm still a little youth, I'm still up, not down right now. I'm still just moving and, trying to put it in other places, show it more. There's so many things I can do with it, just step by step, take it by time.
Do you have, business partners or who, in your company? Is it just you or are there other people you work with?
Yeah, work with my mom, what's it called? My dad, some of my family members, like, talk to me, like, hey, bro, what you doing? But yeah, my parents, a lot of other great people around me help me. Not necessarily, they don't have to be in it, the business area, but they tell me like some cool stuff to bring me up and just help me get through the day, get through the time.
Starting a business, it can be challenging, to get the word out and with new products. How have you marketed your products to make people aware of what you're doing?
I used to go to so many pop-ups. Times I was tired. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to go home, sleep. I'm tired. Play the game. But what's it called? I knew it was for a good cause because these ideas I have, since I've been out here and want to keep going farther, I'm able to approach that better and help youth come in and help them so they can grow too. That's the cool part, helping the youth.
And do you use social media?
Yeah, I use social media.
How has the response been and the engagement on social media been for you?
Well, since we're talking about social media, I just done this 31 days of inspiration, and for 31 days straight, it was hard, but 31 days I got through these inspirational cards I got and just put them on the internet, and people said keep going and a lot of great stuff. That's a good way to market the internet. It helps you, can motivate you, or it can bring you down, but if you just stay focused, you can go a long way.
It's awesome. And what about with bread? How have you marketed it?
Bread doesn't work without community. And so the uniqueness is that all the owners are there and we leverage off each other. So again, if I'm there to support Eric and I see Maria or I see James, that's how we network. So social media is a huge part of our marketing, and now social media is a huge part of marketing, and it's really been helping our business. So it's been amazing.
What's something surprising that you've learned in this past year? That unexpected, pleasant surprise, or something that taught you something?
There are amazing moments but this past year, just to know that bread specifically was just this idea, this dream, and now we've grown into 2 locations. Really, my message is that don't wait for it. Your time is now. Our time is now. And so just go for it, because you never know what you're going to be able to achieve.
What about you, Aniki? What's something that you've learned that you didn't expect that was surprising for you?
Something I didn't expect, the virus, I didn't expect that was going to happen. That pushed a lot of stuff back, a lot of ideas I was trying to approach. But after we're starting to come up now and we was taking precaution, everybody's taking precaution and pushing my business out there, trying to. It was hard, but we're starting to come out from the lockdown, so it's still cool that I'm able to do this.
That's awesome. And how do you manufacture your, do you design it? Do you have a designer or do you come up with the designs yourself?
I come up with the designs myself. I have somebody in Thailand Laos, that do some Hmong bow ties because I'm half Hmong, so I still want to bring my culture too, both cultures. I want to bring it in because that's who I am. And my hoodies, manufacture them too, make them, the logo. And yeah, so many other cool things I can do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what about Marsha? How have you seen, in the businesses that are part of your marketplace, how have you seen them, grow?
There's been many small businesses that have been a part of Bread that have grown into their own brick and mortar. Bread is just really a platform for small businesses to gain the experience, gain the capital, the resources to move forward. And so that itself speaks so much volume, and that is the success of Bread. And so to see a small business grow from just starting at home or starting in the basement to having their own brick and mortar and storefront, that's success for us.
So I want to open it up for questions in the audience, if anyone has any questions for Marsha or Aniki.
So, Marsha, you talked about community and the importance of that, and I think anyone that's an entrepreneur, that's such an important part of it. But can you talk about how do you build that sense of community, and how you are creating that? Because it's such an important part of a jumping-off point, but it's a hard thing to do as well.
Just informing and sharing people that come in. We just really being on the same page in regards to letting people know when we go to Target, we don't have a greeter that says, hey, welcome to Target, this is what it is. But with Bread, we're very interactive, where we say, hey, this is a market space. By you just stopping in here, you're supporting us. And I think when people come in, they get that sense of like, whoa, like my dollars are going into a community-based store, or I'm helping a young entrepreneur. And I think that message just really grows, just kind of continuing on that message.
How about you, Aniki? How do you think, build community for entrepreneurship and other small businesses and youth?
Say that again.
Well, how have you helped, how have you seen the community grow since you started as an entrepreneur with other young people? How do you, see them building community? How do you build it with them?
What's it called? I've been seeing a lot of people branching out. I've been seeing a lot of more young entrepreneurs. Not only social media, in school I've seen some, outside of school, and it's just amazing to see that. Not when I was doing it, there wasn't that many, but now that since it's branching out and there's some here, little, old, it's just amazing. And the community-based, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs in the community. So if you can see one, support them. Support them.
Any other questions?
I don't necessarily have a question. One, I just wanted to big this team up. You guys are super dope. I followed you on IG too, by the way, so don't not follow me back. Then we'll have a problem. I'm just playing. The one thing that I would just add, though, is like you guys are doing a whole bunch of stuff, creating a lot of items and brands and designs. I would encourage you to spend 80% of your time mastering something, right? It took me a while. I was like being a jack of all trades. I feel like your art of storytelling can like push your business to the next level, and just listening to you talk, people listen, right? And so just tighten that up, I think will take you guys to the next level. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, these are very inspiring entrepreneurs here, Aniki and Marsha, as a family of entrepreneurs. As a family, how do you, find time to balance, work and life?
Yeah. In the beginning, it was just, work. And I've learned as my son grew a little bit older to let him be a kid. And so I don't really push that a lot on him. He has 2 locations, of course, inside Bread, and he's supposed to be there, of course, but I don't really push that on him anymore because he's still a youth and he's still a kid, and I don't want him to miss out on that. So really having a balance and a schedule helps us a lot, and just for me, just being mindful that he is a young person.
Thanks, Marsha, and thank you, Anike. This has been a great panel. Give them a round of applause. They're very inspiring young entrepreneurs here.